Hey, Dennis, LinkedIn has always been a really important part of not only for me personally, but for my business. But I understand too, it's also something that I kind of sporadically interact with it, and I know I'm not getting the best utility out of it. It's something that I think I need to do better on.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I was better at it and used it more frequently than I do. And I think there's lots of little nuances and tidbits that we take for granted or don't realize they even exist that could help us connect with people, for people to connect with us. And so today we've got Ray Greenup join us. She's a LinkedIn expert. And
Yeah.
it's going to just talk about some, best practices and things you can do to use LinkedIn more effectively and how to connect with people.
Ray is the owner of Level Up on LinkedIn. And today she's going to share with us a few tips that will help polish up your LinkedIn profile. And there's some secrets in there that I learned. So I definitely appreciated what she shared with us. It was a really interesting episode. So let's listen to what Ray has to say.
WFH with two guys. Now here's Benny and Dennis.
Dennis, I know that LinkedIn is a super important part of business in today's world. I I put a lot of work initially into making my LinkedIn profile for not only myself, but for my company to look pretty good. How have you done with your LinkedIn? Have you done a whole lot with it?
I use LinkedIn a lot. I'm in a group called Good People Networking, and we do reverse networking, and it's all
Mm,
based off of LinkedIn, finding out who's connected to who and asking for those introductions. And so it's helpful if people have their LinkedIn correct and reflective of what's going on because it allows us to find those people that we want to connect with. And those connections could be for friendship, for business, for nonprofit type things. You never know why you're trying to connect, but
mm,
I use it a lot. I had Sales Navigator for a while and I've switched back just to using the free LinkedIn or the cheap
mhm,
version of LinkedIn versus the paid one, but
yeah,
it's a great tool. It's, it's almost like a shingle on your website's a shingle. It's kind of the
mhm.
secondary shingle that you have as a person and as a business.
Well, I know that I'm not maximizing my utility on LinkedIn, and I know that I've kind of treated it probably like in a wrong way. And as I've mentioned this before, I kind of treated it a little bit of a static web page for me. But we brought in an expert who can tell us all about the secrets of LinkedIn. Ray, thank you so much for stopping by today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to talk with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's start at basics, okay? Because I'm gonna not necessarily make the assumption that everyone understands what LinkedIn is, how it can be useful. There's some folks out there who maybe aren't active at all on LinkedIn. But Ray, talk a little bit about LinkedIn. What is it, and really, what is the value of it to me and my business?
Yeah, absolutely. So, especially in a, business situation, if you own your own business, a lot of people think, well, I'm not B2B, I don't need to be on LinkedIn. But the thing is, if you're networking and you're out in the community, you need sort of a place where you can see and be seen by your networking community. And so first and foremost, it's the world's premier networking platform, right?
Mm,
So it's really important, to stay on top of even the network you have, even if you're not, actively. And it's funny because you come across profiles, I'm sure you both have, where it's like, I'm retired, right? But somebody's on there and took the time to update it as
yeah.
I'm retired, right? And that, to me, that signals that there's that importance there where the people that they've worked with over the years, they're connected to those people.
Hmm.
And that's theirs signaling that. Or, then there's also it's signaling to B2B salespeople that like, hey, I'm no longer in my industry, right?
Yeah.
Things
Hmm.
like that too. But that's the thing. And so it's come such a long way from this idea of, oh, well, I don't need to be on there unless I'm looking for a job
Yeah.
to it being because of the just vast amount of people on there to it being, like I said, that important tool where you're getting touch points in with people that you normally wouldn't. I mean, just the other day, I was speaking at a nonprofit group and a friend of mine said how her husband had gotten laid off and he got a job because somebody he worked with 20 years ago saw him, on LinkedIn and messaged him and was like, hey, what are you up to these days? And he's like, actually, I'm looking. And this old colleague was able to hook him up and now he's in his new role. I mean,
Oh,
And
that can be the power of LinkedIn, you know?
And that would be my messaging to people too is even if you have a job to now, network because you never know in today's
Yeah.
society when something's going to change and you're going to be displaced. Well, don't start trying to network out when you're laid off. It's much easier if you're networking and you've got connections built when
yeah.
things are going well.
Mhm.
And that when that rainy day does come, you've got those people to connect with. And again, you may not be asking the person you're directly connected with, but Ray, hopefully you can show people how you can see who they're connected with because that's who you want to get to because you don't want to send your resume into the HR department because honestly, that's like sending it to a trash can. You need to
Mhm.
get it to the
Mhm.
person that's as close as possible to that decision making. And that's how LinkedIn can help you on that side, or from a business standpoint, or if you're in a nonprofit, and trying to connect people and help grow the nonprofit's information. You can find people that have expertise in certain industries or areas that you want to try to connect with or expand on. And that's the beautiful part about it. And it's global. So you're not just dealing with someone in your little neighborhood. It's truly worldwide that you're working with and trying to connect to people.
It is. It's incredible because there's literally like a couple billion people on it. Like
Right.
you said, with that global connection. I have a colleague that developed during COVID that's in the UK, but she developed this really cool thing during COVID. She's got a photography business of being able to guide people on doing selfie shoots that come out like professionally. She's able to guide them through, and she's got this app where she can actually see what they're seeing. So they just connect on this app and she guides them through like, okay, make sure you move your hair this way and do this and do that, and actively during the shoot guiding them. And it's pretty cool because it's like what saved her business,
Yeah.
through the
Huh.
pandemic.
So
And yeah, go ahead.
one of the challenges I have with LinkedIn, and hopefully you can discuss this as we go over. I can connect with people, but then people will try to, I say, chat with you back and forth, and I get hundreds of those. And because they kind of just keep scrolling down, I feel like I'm missing people because it's not like an email where I can save it and do stuff. Am I missing something, or is that just one of the hangups with LinkedIn that it's not the best chatting mechanism back and forth with people?
Yeah, it can be tough because I have clients that I manage their inboxes as well. And it's like if you don't catch it while it's unread at the top of your inbox, like it gets buried. And if you didn't see it
Mhm.
or knew to look for that particular person, like you're not going to see that again.
Right.
They tried to help the situation with having like that focused versus other inbox, like that AI sorter thing that's similar to like Outlook has that, and Gmail you can do that. And it can cut down a bit on the noise because it puts most in-mails in there, and, so it separates it and stuff. So that's a little bit helpful, I think. But yeah, unfortunately, it's just a little tough. If you're doing big campaigns though, Dennis, and I know you're really well versed in some really great tools out there, where there's some tools out there where you can get, messaging campaigns to go out that have, it syncs directly with your inbox. So those have ways that you can sort
Right.
usually. Like Dripify is one that I have a client in right now. And so that's pretty good because then if I just try to find like all the most recent stuff, like in her inbox, I would miss, oh my gosh, I'd probably miss lots of opportunities. But because I can sort by that unread, and then it moves them like and like kind of files them out as I'm responding to them, I know that I get everybody all the time. Like I'm confident in what our messaging is
Do
doing.
you recommend for people like in your Outlook profile, you can have your
Yeah.
email address? I mean,
Yeah.
but a lot of people don't. So it's like, okay, you have to try to communicate to them through LinkedIn. Well, they're not very good at the LinkedIn messaging. So it's
Yeah.
like you don't get them. I always encourage people that I work with, put your email in there. I mean, it's important
Well,
that people should be able to get in touch with you.
let's talk about that, Ray, for a second. Maybe you can show us
Yeah.
about like some stuff that you would recommend and how we should be looking at LinkedIn. What do you think?
Sounds good. I can share my screen.
So those that are just listening and not watching, encourage you to go in. It's about the 9-minute mark. Ray's actually showing us her LinkedIn profile and is going to walk us through some key things here.
Absolutely. So there's to address Dennis what you were saying about the email address. So that's also a setting that just because your email that you log in with is, on here doesn't mean that it's actually public. And you can make that public. And you can have, usually most people, the setting is like, if you're first level connections with them, you can see their email address.
Right.
But there's a way to even have it public, outside of that. So in contact info, like here's my email. The other thing about this is that a lot of people have older LinkedIn profiles, and some of them have like old Hotmail addresses that
Right.
they
Oh, gosh.
have as their login. So you can add email addresses really easily in settings and privacy and under your login info, and you can still it's so vast back here, so it's just going to take me a quick second. Management.
While you were searching, I
Yeah.
was reading an article the other day. I'm going to tell any kids, if there are any kids that are listening to this, let your parents pick your usernames and your email, because I have some friends who are, pinkprincess75 at hotmail.com.
Yes. It can be rough. It can be rough.
So you can add other emails here then. That's pretty cool.
Yes.
So go and
Yep.
sign in security.
Exactly. And then the cool thing is that once you add them, like the primary is what it takes, but even if you add more of them, it'll still let you log in on any of them that you have in the account here.
That's neat.
But primary just means like if it's public, which one it shows to the public. So that's what
Yeah.
it means by primary.
Okay.
And so, of course, like my original, email address was like an old work one that I had actually started. Like a client invited me to LinkedIn like 15 years ago. I don't know. Like,
Mhm.
and so, I've changed this out quite a bit. And of course, this is the one that I've been going by for some time, for my business. So it makes sense.
So for our audio listeners, we are at settings and then sign in and security. So you should be
Yep.
able to make those changes there.
Thank you.
That was good. Yeah.
Let me just come back. Here we go. So yes, and then so I just want to start at the top with something that's interesting that that kind of goes past most people is your URL on your profile is something worth updating and taking a look at, because it generally, similar to Facebook, it assigns a bunch of random numbers after your last name when you open your profile. And then so for SEO purposes, of course, like for me, I got lucky. I'm the only Ray Greenup. So it's like mine's just Ray-Greenup. But if your name is like John Smith, Jane Doe, whoever, instead of being like Jane Doe number 57, there's maybe a keyword that you want to add that you want associated with your name. And that can help with SEO and everything, because now, of course, all the social media platforms are part of Google searches and things like that. And of course, then we can go down that rabbit hole of AEO and all of that's going on now, of course, with answer engine optimization. But and you can do that nice and easily right here from, home screen. You just click on your profile, and then over here on the right, public profile and URL is where you can go ahead and edit that. And this blue little pen, you just put in what you want here. And so I highly recommend at least cleaning it up to get rid of those random numbers, because, when you're out there networking, no matter what you do, you're like, oh, hit me up on LinkedIn. And then it's like, with the ugly numbers afterwards. And then it's just, this is a nice clean link that you can give to people.
And Ray, if you change it there and you already had it, let's say in your signature on your email or whatever, you need to go to your email and change that to that new URL.
Yes. Good. Yes. Very good point. Very good point. So yeah, just don't forget, if you do change it there, you want to change it elsewhere. So of course, like if you already have a QR on your business cards or something, wait till the next round that you're going to, print them or something.
Great.
Yeah.
Good.
Do that. But
Yeah.
So Ray, what
LinkedIn shows
what are like 2 or 3 key points here that you always try to show people in LinkedIn to make sure it's reflective of what's going on? So when you look at you get a new client and they say, "Hey, help me clean up my LinkedIn." What are some of the pitfalls that you come across the most often that you see that people don't think about?
So a few things are, let me come back over to give a little visual aid as well. So a few things would be, of course, the experience section. A lot of people like just regurgitate their resumes on here. But depending on what you need it for, actually, even people that are looking for a job, like you want it to be a highlight list of your accomplishments and really talking about what you did. So like, and then you can even apply that to if you own your own business. That's actually a big one. People that own their own businesses that don't create company pages to
Mm.
link to on their profiles. So it just looks like, that gray ugly box when they're like, I'm, JC Consulting Services or something. And then it's like, especially if you're in consulting, like you want to look professional. So you want to make sure that you have a company page that your profile is linked to. And it's not so much you want a company page to post everything on or anything like that. It's, like I said, more about that professional look and having some information that your company looks like a legit business on, on LinkedIn. So with the experience section, and I'll show you what I mean, I just have, like for mine, I've got the link up top, but then all these bullet
Whoa.
points of like, basically achievements and accomplishments. So somebody interested in my services could come and see like the kinds of work that I've actually completed and things that I've done. Another newer section to think about using is this project section with that. Now, they added this originally with the thought of like, being a hospital administrator, right? And you were part of, the John C.W. wing being put on or something. But projects could really be anything. And so for me, I've got like these two projects that don't really fit under publications because it's not my content, but it's projects that I was on that, that completed, that published. And so, this is a big one for a lot of people because this is a great way, like if you were part of, let's say with your church, maybe you were, part of getting a school built for your church. Like that's not necessarily a part of like what you do your 9 to 5, but it's certainly something worth talking about, worth showcasing that you were part of this really great initiative and completion. So this is a really great overlooked section that's newer.
So, great question for you because people ask me all the time, hey, what networking groups are you in? Would that be a good spot to list? Hey, here's my top 3 groups that I participate in. It might not be a project, but here's how I connect with people and that kind of thing.
They have organizations as well, which
Okay.
is a great area for that.
Okay.
So like, of course, Chamber of Commerce, Network and Action. Those are the two major memberships that I have.
Okay.
So, there's organizations is for a number of things. And like, even if you're the treasurer of like the Fly Fishing Association of America, put that on there because it could be a connection point with somebody.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
so-
because I'm in the Southeast Conference area, I always look to see, are they an Alabama fan or an Auburn fan or a UT fan or a Texas A&M
Critical
fan?
business
So-
aspect.
because I mean, it's a conversation piece. I mean, yesterday I had a call with the guy that first met, and we ended up talking about all the football coaches getting laid off, and out of it came, he's like, let's have another follow-up call and I want to learn more about your business. That probably was not going to go anywhere until we got talking about something about a relationship and things that we were excited about.
Yeah, for sure.
Ray, let me ask, can you scroll up to the top of the page there of your profile? One of the things that I see from time to time, and you did a really good job here, is that behind your picture on LinkedIn is this banner. And I've seen some people put up, like, I live here in Colorado, and so we have, mountains, and people do that. And I put a little, it's a little bit of a well done ad is what, I'm seeing some people do. And it seems like you have some really neat a banner there. You suggest that we put that on all of our profiles?
Yeah, 100%. So the banner is a big one, and whatever you can tune your banner to whatever your objective is at the time. So it may be looking for a job, or it may be developing, relationships and talking to a specific audience. Mine speaks to a very specific audience because this is my main objective right now. And so, the cool thing is too on the premium business. So there's two versions of premium. I have premium career. The premium business one, they now allow a carousel of banners. So there's 5 rolling slides.
Interesting.
And when I've developed those for clients, the cool thing is that we can sort of like start with a thought-provoking question and lead them sort of through almost like a landing page, this journey of wanting to know more
Mm,
and using the specific keywords that we need to sort of drive interest. Maybe even, with a direct call to action there, a QR code, it could even be. Um, so that's a really big one. And, it doesn't have to be, you know, uh, uh, a Picasso painting of a graphic design either. I mean, we all have access to, tools. I mean, I love Canva, like most people. And, you can put something together that makes sense, and it doesn't have to be just a blank with a logo or something, or
yeah.
take the opportunity here to make it shine where you're calling somebody's attention. I will say you want to make it bring some color into it, because as you can see, I do not have dark mode on my screen.
Hmm.
So but people that do, a white banner is going to stick out, right? But people that don't, a white banner will just wash away. And
Hmm.
then same thing with a black banner. A black banner is going to get lost in the sea if it's on, if screens aren't
Good
dark.
point.
Ray,
So
another question that I get quite a bit. There's a thing, a lot of times it'll pop up and says you need to verify. What does that mean in LinkedIn terminology?
great question. Love it. So this, I talk about this. So this little check mark thingy, it is not the same thing as like an influencer, a blue check mark on Instagram. It is a actual ID verification through Clear, government Clear, for LinkedIn. The reason why you'd want to do this, and I get it, like most people are like, really another thing I have to give all my information to and send through my license. But what it helps LinkedIn do, LinkedIn is very proactive about spammers
Mm,
and bots and things like that. That's why it really frowns on if you have like an old profile and you just create a new one, like it frowns on that. You just want to edit the old one that you have. And so with those efforts, you can verify your identification to LinkedIn, and it can help with, like I said, spam and things like that. And also like reach, if you're doing a lot of messaging campaigns, it helps with that too. It helps the algorithm then know, oh no, this is a real person.
Interesting. That is great. Okay.
let me ask one other little question there too as well. Right by our names on LinkedIn, and I see this little speaker. And my
Yes.
understanding is that was like if you have maybe a non like a non John Smith name, right? And so people know how to say your last name. You could use that to record your voice and say how it's pronounced. But I hear some people are using it almost like a little commercial. Have you heard that before? Is that something?
It is another little bell and whistle, as I like to call it, that I do recommend when I'm talking with people. So that audio file, if you go, you can't record it on the computer, but if you go on the phone app,
Hmm.
there, and you go to edit profile in this section, it'll ask you, it'll say add name pronunciation, but all that is a 10-second audio file. So mine says, and I don't know if the sound will come through, but mine says like, hi, I'm Ray Greenup, can't wait to connect with you. It's just like a little welcome kind of a thing.
Hmm.
uh and so yeah, so like I said, it's a little bell and whistle to kind of just add a little something extra in there, especially because they got rid of those the videos that the
Yeah.
cover stories. That was like the 30-second video that you used to be able to have here. So it's a little, like I said, it's a little something extra you can put on there.
Yeah. I like those. I wish they hadn't gotten rid of those. If
I agree.
something must have been abused by us.
I don't know. They just went by the wayside, and it was sad to see because I had one. So, well.
Right. I think this is so fascinating. And I love this topic and I love learning new things about LinkedIn. And there's a couple things I'm going to tweak on my LinkedIn profile. So thank you for that. But I know that there are going to be some people out there who have some questions, who don't really take full advantage of LinkedIn and all the goodness that it can give you. So what's the best way for people to get a hold of you?
Sure. Email please, I welcome any email if you just have a question, like, and you're not like, you're more timid on LinkedIn, you don't want to message me or connect with me on LinkedIn. My email is ray@raygreenup.com. So it's RAE at RAEGREENIP.com. Connect with me, of course, on LinkedIn. I do have a privacy setting on my LinkedIn where you require my email address to actually send me a connection request. And I just gave you my email, so feel free to reach out and connect with me. Yes.
But I also understand too, Ray, that there are certain things that you would suggest people do, and you have a bonus giveaway that you give away to some folks, and doesn't require them to give out any information either.
That is true. You can go to my website, leveluponlinkedin.net. And if you just scroll down, I have a profile checklist right on there that you can just download. The PDF's literally on there. So you don't have to, it's not like a email address catcher, any of that kind of stuff. You can literally just take the profile checklist. So yeah. And I'd love, of course, hit me up and let me know if you use it and what you think of it. I don't always love feedback on it. So.
I know I'm going to definitely do that. Thank you, Ray. I appreciate that. And listen, this has been such a wonderful opportunity to learn a little bit more about LinkedIn. And thank you for sharing that. Thanks for stopping by, Ray. We really appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much. This has been so fun.
All right. We'll see you soon.
We'll see you soon. Thanks, Ray.
Thank you.
You've been listening to WFH with Two Guys. We'll see you next time.